I'll get him started. Hey, Stacy. Here's one really cool thing that I want to drive home to you guys before I introduce him, before we get started, is that, guys, I thought I was treating this like a business, but I realized I wasn't. And just, I want to commend a couple people, Stacy and Tracy and Linda, because in my mind, they're the only 3 people plus myself that did Sherry's homework from last week. There was 36 people on the call. Okay. To me, if you're serious about the business, you will know how much of an impact that call was last week. I had people calling me and texting me and wanting the replay, and I saw that 60-some people had watched the replay. Guys, you can't watch. The reason why 10% of people are successful at this business is because they tie in to what we're doing, to calls, and they go to trainings, they do the things that they're supposed to do, but they never follow through and finish what they started. And I'm guilty of it. I've been guilty of it before, but no more. I sat down today. Lisa's best friend is in town, and they went and did something, and I sat and mapped out my entire week. Why? Because I don't want to tell you guys to do something that I'm not doing myself. I don't want to tell my coaching clients, guys, I'm coaching several elite distributors in LifeVantage right now, and one of the things that makes me be intentional about what I'm doing is that I don't want anybody to come back and say, you taught us this, but you didn't do this. You showed us this, but you didn't do this. You stood in front of the room and taught us this, but you couldn't do that. And now that he's on, I'm going to tell you somebody that I'm about to introduce that taught me one principle: to always do what you say you're going to do, no matter whether today, it was not a coincidence that I have Clinton on the call today, and that my pastor's message today at church was, always do what you say you're going to do, even when it doesn't make sense. Even when you walk by faith and not by sight, right? And you show up at a meeting and no one's there, and you drove 4 hours. Or, we just experienced that just a couple weeks ago. And I used to remember when I first got in this business over 9 years ago, hearing Clinton talk about that, getting in his car and driving 5 hours and then turning around and going back home and nobody was showing up. And I'm going to have him share a little bit about that here in a second. But let me do a little bit just of an introduction. Bring him on. And guys, I've said this before that I value what we do on these calls, and I'm not going to bring someone on this call that doesn't match up with the things that Lisa and I believe in and the things that we're doing that got us where we are. And those principles is what we've been learning from the very beginning, but a lot of us got distracted. And one of the reasons why Lisa and I started going to Building Depth was because I watched people like Clinton go through what we were going through, but we were still struggling and they were not. And all they were doing was doing the things that we did way back in the beginning, and they never stopped doing them. And when it didn't make sense, they kept doing them. And when someone told them to show up to an event, they showed up to an event. And you guys can know this, Clinton shows up to events and meets his spouse, right? Things happen the way they're meant to happen when you do what you say you're going to do. And so Clinton's a husband, he's a father. Between him and Kimberly, they have 10 kids. He told me that, and I remember this, that he started this business when he was 26, now he's 36, 10 years later. He's originally, and I don't know if I'm saying this right, but it's Winnemucca, is that right, Clinton? Did I say it right? Winnemucca, Nevada, where he told me that school, did I say it right?
Winnemucca.
Winnemucca. All right. So where he said school, this was funny because those of you that know him, he's serious, but he's also funny, right? Like he can be the most serious, straightforward guy, but he can also be funny. And he said, school was a struggle, but I graduated, right? Like, he's like, I made it. I made it. I finished. I started and I finished, right? And so he was in the mining industry. And I like this. He said he learned what I learned, that trading time for money, no matter how much money you make, in the end, it becomes exhausting, right? And going to a job every single day and making good money and never seeing your family and never seeing your kids. Well, in 2008, and I'll let him tell more about that, he was introduced to LifeVantage and Marcel, and I believe by Seth Campbell, if I'm not mistaken, he was introduced to LifeVantage, and then he got to meet Marcel, which most of us know. Once you meet Marcel, your life changes, and he takes you under his wing, and now he's a leader. He teaches LifeVantage Academy, and I like this. This is what he said. He now understands time and financial freedom, and him and Kimberly get to raise their kids on their terms, not on somebody else's terms. And when you got 10 kids, I think you need to be able to raise your kids on your own terms. So I'm going to just be quiet. I'm going to let my friend, and I consider him a mentor. I don't think I've ever told him that. Actually, I think I did tell him that when we were at a LifeVantage elite reception just recently, that I had been watching some of the stuff he was doing. I told him that, I get to follow him with LifeVantage Academy, and that's a privilege and an honor, because I take it very seriously that we get to go out and impact lives in a massive way, that if not for this opportunity, we would never have those opportunity to get to know people like Clinton and Tony and all these other people. So, brother, love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to turn it over to you and let you talk. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right.
Mike, there's a whole bunch of background noise, eh?
All right, let me mute everybody. Hold on one second. Clinton, I'm going to mute everybody, okay? And then I'll unmute you if you're still muted. Oh, yeah, that's good.
Everybody muted now.
Yeah, everybody's muted now. You're good, bro.
Hey guys, I'm sitting here scrolling through the pages and looking, and I really am humbled and honored to be on here tonight. I'm grateful that Michael and Lisa asked for me to get on here and share a little bit with you guys. I want you guys to understand the way I look at myself, and the way I look at this opportunity, and the way I look at life. We all have struggles, we all have trials, we all have different things we have to grow through in life. We all have different backgrounds where we come from. And there's going to be a lot of people that bet against you, against me, there's always going to be people that bet against us, but there's always going to be those people, if you find them, that will wrap their arms around you to lift you up, to guide you to who you can become. Every single person on here deserves to become the best you, deserves to have the opportunity to truly change your life. In 2008, started a whirlwind of change in my life. The end of 2008, I got laid off, but I left a life that I remember, I understand, I can think of the memories, but it's a life I don't even remember anymore because I've lived a completely different way. And in order to get to where I'm at, I had to accept the challenge. And the challenge was the things I was going to go through to become a different person. Did I really want that? Was I really willing to do that, even though people see me a different way? And it was really kind of cool because a lady in church today did an analogy that was the same way I was thinking. It's like she pulled out a root beer bottle, but it poured out something else. It's like everybody expects you to be one way or be that person, or even people that know you from the past, and they don't really know who you can become in the inside, the person that you are becoming and the person you will become. This industry of network marketing, I hope you guys become a student and have truly fallen in love with this industry, because this industry of network marketing, this people business, guides you to become a person that can truly serve and help other people. Leadership, becoming the best person you can. This will overflow in every aspect of your life. Your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your kids, your relationship with your friends, your relationship with your family members. You look at life completely differently. I was 26 years old, living in somebody else's basement because somebody else decided I didn't need a job. What I thought was a disaster and a fall in life became the biggest blessing in my life. The blessing of, okay, you have to be solution oriented. Are you going to continue to submit to the system that keeps breaking you? You continue to get laid off. You're going to live that for the next 40 years. Okay, you can work next 10 years and then you're laid off for the next year. And then you're subject to everybody else. Or are you going to take ownership for you, your life, and the best control you have for your life? And when 2009 started, I decided that it was my turn. I wanted to figure out how people created wealth. If there was enough money to distribute to all the people, and then it would be redistributed to the 1%, like if they all lost it, and then they'd find their way back to them, why? It's one of the questions I ask, why? Money is a tool, okay? It's the object I hated because it dictated everything good that I seen in my life that I wanted. I wanted time. I wanted the opportunity to raise my kids. I wanted to build a relationship with my spouse and be able to do whatever I wanted with her and just go places and see things. I wanted to build meaningful, deep friendships and relationships with people that truly want to lift you. Okay? They're willing to tell you the honest truth, but never the faults. Always look at who you can become. There's a perfect man that has always done that in all of our lives. Okay? There is. And we get to decide to become more like that. We truly get to decide. And that's where in 2009 is my life. 2008 crashed, 2009, I'm finding a different way. And I started building a relationship with the man upstairs that I had never built before. A relationship spiritually that I'd never had. And who he would lead into my life after that has ultimately changed and blessed every aspect of my life. A person of true character. A person that truly follows through with deep, meaningful words that would then lead me through to find someone like Tony Krashwitz. Principles and behaviors aren't just about network marketing. They're not just about LifeVantage or life. It's the principles that we live by. At Building Depth in December, I'm going to be talking about always doing what you say you're going to do. Always do what you say you're going to do. Even long after the feeling that you said it in has left you. It's called integrity. It's called character. It's called commitment. There are so many other ways to put it. And you can look around in this world and see why people are at where they're at and where they didn't follow through with commitments that they made. I can look at my life and realize where I didn't follow through with some commitments and it made a hardship on my life. Then I can look at when things got really hard in LifeVantage, after I talked to a couple hundred people after 5 months, over 80 people that I personally knew, and nobody wanted anything to do with this. Was it me or was it the opportunity? Wasn't the opportunity because everybody else was signing up people. It was me. And it's nothing wrong with you. It's what skills do you need to develop to become better. I love it. I used to go, there's this lady that I work with consistently. Every time we'd go to a meeting, she'd get in the car and she'd go, okay, what did I do wrong? And I'd say, would you stop? It's not what you did wrong. We are not focusing on that. Look at the things that you did right and compound upon that. What are things that I could get better at? You didn't do anything wrong. And I want all of you guys to understand this on here today. There is nothing you are doing wrong. You get a result or a return for everything you do. So if you're not getting the return or the result that you want, this is where I had to take a really deep look at myself and go, what is it that I'm missing? What is it that I'm not doing? One of the things that I thought about the system, and this is where I break down the system in my LVAs to really go through, The very beginning part of the system is it's the start. It's the 15 presentations a month. Okay, we always talk about that, but this is the thing. What is a presentation? What does it start with? This is where I lacked your story. You know what? I thought that was the stupidest thing in this world. I hated that. I don't want to talk about myself. I don't want to talk about my past. I don't want to be judged. None of us like to talk about that. What are the things that are hard? And then it becomes a moan and a gripe session for others. Then they start talking about it. It's not about that. Look, I grew up a very different life than most people. Like, I shouldn't say most, because there are a lot of people that understand the pain that I grew up in. Grew up in a broken home. I hated it. 4 stepdads by the time I was 5. I hated it. So I always tell the story. I woke up with an alarm clock by the time I was in kindergarten to go to school with my brothers. My brothers and I got up and we walked ourselves to school. That was life. My mom was a single mom, and I love her to death, because guess what she was doing? Providing for her children, because that's what she had. That's what this world provides for people, because they don't know a different way. Do you know you guys have a gift to give people? So I tell that story in the fact of growing up that way. I wanted something different. I didn't just want my wife to be home. I want to be home. I want to be an influence in my children's life. Okay. So that was something that was hard that I learned in my mind. I go, I didn't want it. How do you get it? The next thing. Okay. I was not, and I'm still getting better, and I have a lot of work at communicating. Communication is key in this world. Communication to yourself, what you say to yourself, what you talk to other people about, how you speak, the words that you use. Okay. I struggled through school. I struggled through communication and talking and saying things. I struggled with telling not just my story, which I thought was stupid, but telling the company story and not over exaggerating life. $1 trillion company within the next 5 years. I mean, I think about the things that the things I talk about, over exaggerating to get people, because I think so big. Well, then I got a phone call from my upline leadership. Coke and Pepsi aren't even $1 trillion company. I said, well, not everybody drinks Coke and Pepsi, but everybody has oxidative stress.
Apple just became the first $1 trillion company, so that's really good job, Clinton.
Thank you. See? So I want you guys to understand, I struggled in this, but I continued to follow the behaviors. 15 presentations a month. I struggled. It sucked. It was difficult. It was hard, but I kept doing it over and over. And then guess what? 5.5 months, I'm so frustrated. I finally start telling people, I don't ever want to go to work again. I'm sick of spending all my time out of home. I see an opportunity here that I can create financial security and freedom by helping other people. And people go, well, how do you do that? See, I started sharing things and started learning how to share a little bit of what I didn't like about going to work in the mine. Hey, I love blowing crap up on a daily basis. I love dealing with the explosives. I love diving 6,000 feet. It's a whole world under there. It's incredible. This is the thing. Someone pays me 50 grand a month. I'll never go to work there ever again. There is no way. If I could build an income that I can choose to, whether I go out and hang out with my horses, or I take my wife on a date, or see, this is the thing. What dictates our life are the tools that give us freedom. I was going to figure out how people created wealth. Your network is your net worth. You need to learn to build a network. And I'm not talking about monetary. Money is a tool. Your network, the ability to call Michael Huey up and say, hey, look, bro, I'm coming to Florida. I'm other people in England. This is the thing. Your network allows you the ability to connect with people around the world. And people are just dying to connect with good people that lift them up. And then you throw in this tool of LifeVantage, category creating products, scientific technology that is going to change the way people think about health and medicine, setting the standard. I don't know a lot about the science, but I know it's setting the standard. I know there's people a lot smarter than me that have a degree that I can put this in front of and say, hey, look, you deny the facts. But I don't have a degree. I flunked biology in high school. But this thing, you can't deny the facts that you already followed, that you went to school for. Okay. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I don't have to prove that I'm better, that I'm this. You guys are no different than me. Can I tell you this? What makes me better than you? Nothing. We are all the same. We are equally yoked. We all have our own struggles. We all have to grow. If you want to build this business, learn to develop yourself as a leader. Learn leadership books. Find those people that you relate with and connect with them. Okay? Connect with those people and just learn what they want. See, that's the thing. Most people have an opinion about network marketing. They give you their nastiness because they don't have a clue what it is. They truly are not educated. I'm telling you right now, when someone says that they don't like it, say, what happened? What don't you like about it? It doesn't take money, or it doesn't take anybody, unless they really did get in a scam. Companies shut down every day. The company I went to work for in the mines shut down. Crap, it was one of the largest contracting company for the gold mines. The things that they had their hands in. And the economy crashed and it shut everybody down like that. My job was done. I was a worker in their cog. Guess what? I would rather go out and develop a network for category creating scientific products, be a part of an opportunity, own my own business. I've always wanted to own my own business. I've always wanted to do my own thing. This is a true way of allowing people without this massive, massive cost. And true leadership. Where do you get the opportunity? Okay, I'm no different than you. The only difference between you and I is I have 10 years. I've been doing this for 10 years. I struggled. I sucked at this thing. The company was selling the product on GNC shelves when I started. My ID number is 60. It's no different than yours today. If you're brand new today, actually, you probably have a little bit better of a story than we have. Because you don't have to talk against all of the, well, you're still selling it on GNC shelves. You don't know if the stuff's going to be positive. Well, what the patents, the things that have come out now, okay? Now, and there's a perfect system. I mean, this building depth group, basically building depth is a concept. What's the concept? The concept is teaching people how to go out and sponsor and sign up and help other people sign up other people. And as you take control of your business, you help those people sign up people to eventually build a network of thousands of people, and you won't be able to know all of them. She agrees. See, she's sitting there barking on the floor. She's sitting there talking back. Guys, life is always going to have its struggles. Life is always going to have its challenges. And the challenges are created by our own personal decisions. You think at Pro 9 that my wife and I would have it all together.
Of course, he puts me on when I'm not paying attention.
But that's the thing, guys. I want you guys to understand that. We have no kids right now. Sitting on the couch. We don't watch TV, but we've gotten into the show The Blacklist, and we've kind of become these Don't
do it. Don't ever start watching.
Really, no Christmas movies. We've been watching Christmas movies for 3 days.
Hallmark, right?
Yes!
They're all recorded on my television.
So when it's later,
We did have hot chocolate.
We did have hot cocoa, and we're hanging out. But this is the best life. This is the thing. You'd think, Kimberly, how much do we have it together?
Oh, what is that even a thing? We don't have it all together.
And this is the thing. Guys, as I met my wife, she was building her own business and still is. She's incredible. We have a home. She's pregnant with number 11.
congrats.
She's like, it's a busy life. But this is the thing.
She's like, yeah, it's a busy life.
And we're still learning and growing. Guys, and this is the thing at our last I love this. At our last Life Advantage Academy, they wanted to know our daily method of operations, our DMO.
And I think they were surprised to know that they were very similar to what yours would probably look like. A messy, scratched piece of paper, with a checklist, not everything completed. And the majority of everything on the list has nothing to do with LifeVantage. You just have to be effective with the little time that you do have and be consistent. Because that's really where you'll see the results. So mine will look different than his. I mean, we have different roles but we can, I'm telling you, no matter if you're a husband or a wife or whatever, you can still build this business in the nooks and crannies, no matter what your life looks like.
This is the thing. We also got over 2 feet of snow the other day. Okay. So shoveling, we've got 7 horses. We've got a ton of kids. We've got a dog. There's life, and LifeVantage is our life. LifeVantage is a huge piece of our life. And daily method of operation, get a paper calendar. Get a paper calendar and be intentional with your schedule. Don't waste time. Don't sit on social media and scroll. Don't sit on, okay. If there's certain things you like to do, I love to get on and look at land watch, or look at truck. Set aside time to where you only spend 30 minutes doing it. I can spend all day, and all of a sudden it's like, and then I don't get anything done. But this is something I've learned from Kimberly. Checklists. Accomplish the things on your checklist, but this is the thing. Put the mandatory things. A lot of you work full-time jobs. You can't quit. So this is the thing. You've got to work this in the nooks and crannies, everything. You got to be intentional, and you've got to reach out and make contacts with people. You have to. But then you've got to follow the behaviors and principles. You got to do at least 15 presentations a month. You've got to attend all events. Like, that's the only reason why I could say, for me personally, I've grown to where I'm at is the events.
Yeah, it's
Question.
when you're down,
You both.
when life hits you, it's just that pick me up.
So Clinton, I have a question. Am I allowed to ask a question?
Yeah.
So I have a question for you both. So we were actually at at the Elite reception at our last event in Long Beach, and I said to Clinton, I was like, Clinton, I'm tired of the ups and downs of this business. And then he said, you want to know my ups and downs and how my business went like this, and then like this, and then like this, and then like this. So tell me how, because there's a lot of people on here that have been Pro 4 and they're back at Pro 2, and they've went up and down. And I know that from a team that's heard you guys speak in Ohio and different spots about, you guys are not ashamed to talk about that and what you did to get things going back in the momentum that they're going now in the direction of you guys, what I would say 2020 being Pro 10. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll tell you this, we have lost, we've had Pro 8s that are gone. We have Pro 7s that are gone. We have a lot of Pro 6s that are gone. We've lost, 220,000 over here. We've lost another 200,000 over here, but we're still not.
So what?
Oh, you muted yourself. Can't hear you.
Is that better?
Yeah, you said something about we lost over here, and then you went bye-bye. So
okay, so we've lost, a couple 100K over here, a couple 100K over here, but we're still knocking on the door of Pro 10. How? And there's some things that we could have done better, that we could have saved some of that other. This is the leadership growth that I'm going through. This is the leadership growth that Kimberly goes through, and this is the thing. I don't think two people don't think exactly the same, okay? But we all grow and learn. And this is the thing. I needed to build depth better in some of those legs. One of the leaders I was very, very close with, incredible relationship, and he is inspiring. But guess what? I didn't know his weaknesses. I didn't recognize his weaknesses either. So I left up to him to continue to build leadership and depth. And I was here and there for him, but I didn't completely go down in depth and build those deep relationships that when he went through his struggle and his weakness, I wasn't there to lift him up. I didn't understand. And then I'm like, what's going on? And all of a sudden his leaders are struggling. So that's where I had to grow to learn that you need to continue to have relationships with every level of, so I'm not saying every level. So you're going to build a relationship here. You're going to go out and help this person sign up people, and you're going to continue to build down. But how did we continue to do it? One thing that will always keep you from continuing this way, enrollment. You have to continue to build that network. You cannot stop enrolling. People follow what you do. And if you're the leader, then you have to lead by example. You can't tell people what to do. You have to show them what to do. And the best way to show someone how to do it is you continue to do it. So we've had a lot of struggles in our business. We've had people quit. We've had things go where people have gotten disheartened. Things have hurt some, and they weren't strong enough. And I wasn't a strong enough leader to lead them. That was my struggle. I'll tell you, I'll take full accountability. I did not do very well at communicating and helping that person through a struggle. And that's where I learned and grow and am rebuilding. But that's how you become one of the strongest leaders. You will have loss. And I want Kimberly to kind of answer and go through that for.
Well, I think I really relate to what Darren Jensen talks about when he talks about the company as a whole, that we have, this overall revenue, but yet we have this line that underseeds that with the influencer, right? So you'll see consistently an organization go up and down. But if you were to quit right now, you're probably not going to stay at the rank that you're at, or not necessarily rank, but the volume. You'll find that it kind of settles on the backs of where your influencers are. And if you don't have that level of leadership there, that depth built there, you're gonna settle. And so right now, I mean, that's something that's been seen and felt personally, understanding how that doesn't just overall work in a company. Obviously, that's affected in your own organizations because we are part of the company statistic. So I really love that building depth concept and understanding, building relationships. Do not have an expectation that your volume's never, ever going to change. It will change, but your activity, speed of the leader, speed of the pack, don't stop doing what you did in the beginning now, right? Marcel, I will always say, if you're not where you want to be at, then don't stop working, right? Sometimes we kind of put on the brakes. It will settle. So if you want to be, this rank, you better go up here and build stability here. And then before you not that you ever want to peace out, we really teach this idea that you're building an engine. You're stepping out of the working rat race wheel. You're building all the gears and the cogs and everything together where you can no longer have to run in the wheel. It runs on its own, but you've got to be there to oil it, to tune it up, to grease it. And it's just building depth in those relationships is going to be your stability. You've got to build those firewalls like Blue will talk about. It's just vital. It's vital.
Stacy, I want to answer your question. You have 30 leadership from all across the company in building depth. You are learning different tools and different things from each leader to develop you. You take what you like, you take what they are. The thing is you surround yourself with 5 drunks. You become the 6th. Okay? You hang around.
Moving your finger, brother.
You hang around.
Move your finger.
Your finger.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to move his finger and the phone keeps shifting.
You hang around 30 elite leaders that are all on the same page. Different backgrounds, different people. They will help you. You could truly mimic their leadership. That is learning true leadership, Stacy. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is an incredible question. I really appreciate what you asked there, is building depth, helping you with your leadership. Absolutely. Where are you learning the leadership skills? Okay. Your leadership skills are learned through learning from other people. I go out and do, I come back and learn, I go out and do, and I come back and learn. See, you have to, it's not like a perfect scenario. It's not going to be like perfect all the time. You first go out and you start doing it, and you're not like the best. And then you come back and you listen to a group of leaders, and then there's things you're going to pick up, and then you're going to go out and apply, and then you're going to come back and you're going to go back and forth like this for years. See, we want things overnight. We're instant gratification. I know. I was going to be Pro 10 in 6 months. Everybody was going to see this. Okay? In 6 months, I barely reached Pro 2. So I want you guys to understand that concept and process is time. Okay? And the leadership skills are learned over time. And it's following the behaviors and principles that Building Depth teaches through their leadership. That's where you're going to learn leadership. That's why, you're seeing all these people break ranks in Building Depth. They're growing their leadership through Building Depth. They're learning and growing through that process. So the very good question, Stacy. That is you're thinking very right.
Hey, Clinton, let's see if there's I typed it in, but sometimes people don't pay attention to the chat box. And it's really funny that you said that. And then if there's anybody, I'm just going to make a comment. Kimberly, great analogy on what you're saying. Lisa and I muted and we were just, if you see us talking, it's because I'm taking notes and we're talking about things because we're in a new season of our life. Our volume has, as I shared with Clinton before, has drastically changed. And we just realized that we're building a whole brand new team. Lisa and I are in the next couple of weeks are moving to Orlando out of a place here in Clearwater that we've been living for 27 years. Just getting up and it really confirms my pastor's message today. Like, we're doing something because God has told us to do it, and it doesn't make sense, but we know that he's leading and guiding and directing us, and we can already see it. Like we know that we're I'll just be bold and say Lisa and I are in a season of living by faith and believing in miracles. And you guys this is recorded, so I'm just going to let you know that you can go back and watch this in a month or so when those things happen exactly how we know and believe they're going to happen. And so if there's people on here that have a question for Kimberly or for Clinton, I'm glad that you brought Kimberly on because I see why you married her now, because sometimes we both understand that a man who finds a good wife finds a good thing and finds favor with God, because that's what the Bible says, but we really realize it when it happens, right? Like iron sharpens iron and guys, but our wives sharpen us. So, but if there's anybody on that has a question for either of them, just unmute yourself and ask. So let's do that. Let's take this last 5 minutes or so. And if you have a question, unmute yourself and ask a question. And don't be shy, guys. This is what this is for. I know that Clinton thinks the way I think from this too, because I always say this, when we're out teaching, the reason I pay so much attention when I'm at Building Depth and I eliminate distractions is because I get to learn from 29 other elites things that I need to take away. It may be one thing that drastically changes my business. Heck, 6 years ago, we were going to a college football game, and we realized that it was on the same weekend as Premier School. And I was like, okay, so what are we going to do? We'd never missed an event in all of our history of LifeVantage. We rented a car. We drove 4.5 hours to Waco, Texas. I heard Kathy Teal teach things that I teach to this day. And then we got in the car and drove 5 hours and walked into the stadium 2 minutes before the game started. So I think somebody typed a question, Clinton. Do you guys? Carlos said, your message is very encouraging, being consistent with your right activity and what amount of time you have. The very discussion that I had Tuesday night meeting. Thank you. Awesome, Carla. Does anybody have another question they want to unmute themselves and ask a question?
Can you recommend a book for polishing up your leader skills and your communication skills?
Yeah, I'll tell you, John C. Maxwell, Developing the Leader Within. But after you're done with that, go to Developing the Leaders Around You. Developing the leader within is first, and then developing the leaders around you. John C. Maxwell leadership books are some of my favorite. Robert Kiyosaki, and then Napoleon Hill, and then Brian Tracy's The Goals is. I've been going through that, so
yeah, we just went through it too. But we also took our team through. I don't know if you guys have read it yet, but we just took our team through The Power of Five, which is John C. Maxwell's new book on network marketing. He wrote a book distinctively for network marketing, Clinton. It's phenomenal. Actually, we all did. It's 12 weeks, and each person presented one of the lessons on this call. So it was really good. And then we put it on YouTube, so in case people wanted to go look at it, they could. So anybody else?
Thank you for sharing that. But I'll tell you, that's as far as myself and when I was first growing this thing, Marcel's not one. You're seeing a whole new change in Marcel doing his book club thing, and because he doesn't know what each person needs at certain times, so he doesn't stick something through his downline. I was asking. I really needed to learn leadership, and the first thing he ever told me is, you got to read Developing Leader Within You, John C. Maxwell, and then Developing the Leaders Around You. So those are the two that I first started with that were absolutely is incredible. What does that say?
What is your reaction as a presenter while your presenter, the guest, showing no interest of what you're talking about?
That's good. You're noticing. So then you need to step back and you need to ask questions. I can usually turn it. This is something that you get good at. You're looking at that person. You realize they're not interacting. If they're not interacting, I need to figure out what's going to make them interact. And if I can help them to interact in a way, it might not have anything to do with LifeVantage. At that point, guess what it's going to be? It's going to be a game of, they don't trust me. They don't understand. It might even be someone that knows me. But then I'm going to turn it to where I'm going to start taking this. This is going to be a slower amount of time for what it's going to take to share that information.
And that can be harder if you're in a group situation where you're presenting in front of a group of people. It's almost harder to individually tailor it to each individual person, which is why it's important that people are doing the groundwork, that you're doing your one-on-ones, you're connecting with people on a personal level before you're ever bringing them to a bigger event. Because us as presenters, when we're in a room with 30 people, we can identify which people are not, engaged, but our messaging is the same. It's all of the information. We don't leave anything out, but we also let people know, look, this may or may not be for you. We're here just to give you information. You can do with it what you will. But one thing that's very effective is if it's one-on-one, we can tailor it. Until I have had that connection with somebody, I'm not even talking LifeVantage on a one-on-one scenario. But if you're talking in a group, presenting in a group, and you're identifying that, hopefully they're not your people, because hopefully you've already identified and connected with them. If you're the presenter and they're not your people and you're noticing that, that's okay. You may ask an engaging question of, hey, specifically tailor a question to somebody. But at the end of the day, all you can really do is let people know this is not a pressure situation. Get the information and maybe grab them afterwards and say, hey, I just go connect with them on a personal level after, nothing to do with LifeVantage, and see if you can't make that connection there. But make sure you're doing step 1 and 2 first, connecting with them and taking that upon yourself in the guests that you bring and to somebody else's meeting or to yours, whatever. Connect with people first and foremost so that it eliminates a lot of that situation.
And I don't know, Kimberly, if you and Clinton can relate this too, because I do this when I'm teaching LifeVantage Academy. If I see somebody who's not engaged, I go meet everybody before we get started. Even if it's at my chiropractor's office, like I get their names, and if I see them sitting like this, and you guys know me well enough when I was just in San Diego, I've never had someone say this to me. Like a lady came up to me, she had a love shirt on. And she's like, well, I didn't know if I really wanted to be here, and I just didn't really like you. And then she went like this. She said, then I fell in love with you. And she held up her shirt. And I said, why? I asked her a question, right? And she said, because you remembered my name, and you engaged me, and I didn't want to be engaged. And after people are engaged, then they realize they're there more than just to hear us talk about an opportunity. They're there to build, relationships and community. And they feel like they came there not to hear us sell them something, but they came there to be a part of building camaraderie and relationships with people. So thank you so much for saying that. I too am a John Maxwell educator. I got certified through him and done a lot of stuff with him, and his books are just great at allowing us to see that's not about us, right? One of the biggest takeaways from his teaching that he did on network marketing, because he's been training network marketers for 35 years, right? And he said that if you really want to build influence, whether it's at a home meeting or a public meeting or a training, he said you need to engage people. Get people to answer questions and, you know, use them in your presentation and ask them questions. So I appreciate you saying that. Hey, let's just take maybe one more question so I can let them go. Let them go. Yeah, I know, because I'm glad that this has happened, because I always ask God to kind of use this time to bless people. Is there anybody that has maybe one more question that they want to ask them? And if you're not,
Linda, and I've got a question.
I'll go ahead, Linda.
Clinton and Kimberly, do you have any silly little tricks you do to keep yourself motivated to make the phone calls, to set up presentations, follow through?
He's laughing. He's like, oh, yes, she does.
I don't know. Do you?
You go first.
Go ahead.
So
Ladies
this makes me kind of dumb, but sometimes I'll ask myself, okay, I need if I need to call or follow up with two people, right? If I don't want to do it, if someone paid me $1 million, would I do it? And if my answer is yes, then I go, then why the heck will I not do it right now? Because I know, like, all of a sudden you start playing this mental game with yourself and you go, I just hypothetically said if someone paid me $1 million and my answer changed. That's just ridiculous. Just get it done. But one of the biggest things that I find that helps me is you'll see I'll make my lists. And you'll hear Fry. I love he'll talk about, let's eat the frog first. Sometimes there's things you don't want to do, and I teach the kids this. If you don't want your asparagus, just eat it first. Eat it first because you have to eat it. You can't get down until your plate's gone. So just eat the asparagus first. It tastes better when it's warm anyways, and then you can finish off your day with something that tastes really good. If you don't like inviting people, do it first. As far as motivation comes, that you are going to have to figure out what drives you. But I will tell you, we have our days where we do not want to do it, where we just don't. But you learn, and it almost becomes an addiction when you do something and you check it off. It like releases endorphins. It makes you feel like you did something. Like it's a chemical like release when you actually can accomplish and check something off. So I'm not some OCD list type of person. You'll see my list, they're a disaster. But I make them because it helps me just get it done, check it off. And I love the feeling of when I'm done. I feel accomplished. I don't know.
There's something that she said is very true. There are many days, every person goes through this, where you do not want to do something. Life beats you up. There's a lot of things that go on in life, and with a lot of kids and different things, there's only so much energy you have. But this is the thing. This is intentional with your schedule. The tricks that I play in my mind. If I start procrastinating on whether it's calling somebody, the tricks that I used to play is if someone's name popped into my mind, I had to call them instantly. There's that, it just become a habit to where if someone called my line, then I started realizing that in the middle of things that aren't so where you should call somebody, or like we're in the middle of doing something and all of a sudden I'm calling somebody. Okay. So I had to realize that I had to start making lists and then actually scheduling that time to make those calls. And if that's the time that I had, I needed to do it. And I needed to wager. Okay. I've lived on both sides. When I say I lived on both sides, I have sufficient for my needs right now. I'm telling you right now, the blessings that I feel consistently, but I've lived on the other side of worrying about how I was going to keep a roof over my kids' head or not having a roof over my kids' head. I've lived that way because somebody else decided I didn't need a job. It's way easier to call somebody. I'm telling you right now, in my mind, I'm giving somebody the opportunity of gift to choose for themselves or at least follow up. And then I've learned how to take it off of them and say, hey, look, you really can tell me no, and I will have no problem with it. And I will continue to talk with you because you mean something in my life. You truly do. So please I don't want to beg you. I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to drag it out. So whatever it is in your mind you have to do, follow through with it, whether it's you put those names on a list. Like I have a paper calendar, and on the side of my notes, I'll write people's names down that I need to call.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like a non-negotiable to me in the fact of I follow through with that. And this is where you start learning. Can I tell you the most important person to follow through with is yourself?
Mhm.
Okay, the most important person to follow through with is yourself. If you tell yourself you're going to do something, watch what happens to your confidence and belief when you start following through for you. You become a better person for everybody else around you because you can follow through with you. And it's small things. Don't feel like you have to accomplish. I'm that person that has to accomplish. Like she goes, okay, what do you have to do today? And I name off a list, and she goes, okay, what's one thing you can accomplish
pick one
today?
or two of those because that's all it's going to get done. But be careful not to set traps for yourself. This goes right along with what you're saying. We have so many things we want to get done. We want to build it overnight. We want to talk to 5 people, 10 people, whatever it is. Sometimes your life doesn't fit in what other people in LifeVantage are able to fit in. So
Right.
be realistic, and it's okay, and be forgiving to yourself, but be consistent. Part-time job, full-time gig, but this isn't a sometimes gig. Be consistent and be forgiving. If you fall, I've never known somebody to learn how to ride a bike without getting a skin knee or falling and getting back up. You will fall off the LifeVantage bike. You will have to get yourself back up, but forgive yourself, and don't let it be because I didn't do the 5 yesterday. Now it's 10, and then it's 20, and pretty soon it's overwhelming and you can't catch up. Don't do that. Be realistic with what you can fit in your schedule. Don't compare your journey to anybody else, but be consistent with it. Because you'll find that a lot of times you don't move your feet because you set an overwhelming goal for yourself. That's not, and we like to live in this world that everything's achievable. Well, I'm going to tell you from a mother standpoint, running a big household, a lot of kids, doing a business, my own hobbies. If you're not realistic with what you can fit in your life with your non-negotiables, you will get burned out, and you'll be mad at yourself, and then you won't be productive. So be realistic with your expectations.
Okay.
High five on that one.
Thank you. Thanks, both of you.
I don't know if you saw.
Brett.
I don't know if you saw earlier, Clinton, but
Yes.
Chris said you guys have completed your full football team now, and then I said, but everybody's going to have to play both ways. but
2
Chris,
basketball teams with coaches.
Yeah.
We've got that one down.
there was one last question, and I'll let this be last one. Chris said, "Is how important, or is this where having a strong why comes into play?" And you know, how does that relate to you guys?
Huge. And I'll share one thing that really struck me. If your why only includes you, your business is probably only ever going to include you. So if you want a business consisting of a lot of different people, you've got to go deeper into your why to find out who else this is going to involve, because this is a business where you lead volunteer armies, and you cannot achieve big things in this business without a lot of people doing it with you. So if you're feeling like your business is this big, maybe your why is this big. Maybe your why needs to encompass a whole lot more than just yourself, and you'll find it easier to check things off your list because it's no longer uncomfortable. It's almost like the thing you want to do that day. It becomes not hard. So make your why bigger, and you may not know that most of our whys start out kind of superficial, kind of, time. We need more time. We need more money. We want more, whatever it is. But the deeper you can identify the reason why you're doing things, the real reason why we do things in life, you'll find that it usually encompasses more than just yourself, which then makes it easier to share this business because it's encompassing of other people as well. So
Wow.
Your why, that's powerful. Your why cannot
Super
just
powerful.
be you. Your why cannot just be you. If it's just you, guess how big your business will be. See, your why will start out with you and your family, your kids. But as you start growing this business, we can go through our business right now. We can go through people, and we can tell you their whys because their whys are our whys. Their family are our family. It's like Michael and Lisa and this building depth are our whys. You guys got to understand, these whys are you guys. I want everybody on here to win. You all deserve the opportunity to win. You can win. You have to decide that you're willing to go through. No one can do this for you. No one did this for Michael. No one did this for Kimberly and I. But they lifted us up through the process. They help us build the leadership, and those whys of changing families' lives forever becomes your why. You have to be driven in that purpose. And you know what? We all have our own superficial things, but it's all a tool.
Thank you.
So,
hey, I just want to say,
thank you guys for having me.
I just want to say before I let you guys go, is I'm super grateful that you went and sat beside Kimberly and let Kimberly talk, because I feel like every time I hear her talk, I'm encouraged. I'll never forget that talk that we had just back in Long Beach, how you encouraged me and lifted me up. And, you know, we always feel that once somebody else lifts us up, hopefully we're able to say something to them that lifts them up. You know, I'm grateful for both of you. I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. But enjoy your time without children, because I know that I've watched you guys, and you guys had 10, and now another one's coming, and then the level of your why goes up even better. So I actually thank you for saying that, Kimberly, because I'm actually teaching on the why and the what at Building Depth, and so it's one of my favorite topics. And so thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, all of you guys. Have a wonderful evening.
Awesome. Guys, I am not going to share anything else. I had some things I was going to share. I want to share one thing, okay? I want to share one thing. Don't forget about the promos, the 484848, okay? Text LFVN. Guys, start getting some of these programs.
I'm trying to post them in our groups, too.
Guys, if you want to give people stuff for Christmas, give them their health, right? Get these products. Right now, if you get your team on a subscription of the Tri-Synergizer, they're going to get free Axio, okay? Anybody. So go after your customers. Guys, you have to treat this like a business. One thing I learned from Clinton is that he treats this like a business. And he encourages, you know, guys, he's got in his downline, Sherry, who we heard last week, Everett Schilling, Marilyn Johnson, business partners with Tony Kratzowitz, the list, Joe Bowen, the list goes on and on and on. Toby Detwine, I mean, the list goes on and on. Massive elites. I think you guys you just heard from one of the next Pro 10s in our company. And so I hope it was as beneficial for you. I took 2 pages of notes. Hope it was beneficial as it was for me. I'm going to go back and listen to it again tomorrow. And so thank you guys for joining us. Have a great week. Guys, it's a new month. If you don't take December seriously, your business will be affected by it. I know I am. I'm going to be massively intentional because we're moving. We have 2 houses that we're, you know, you guys know we've been in financial difficulties. Everything is happening for a reason. We just want to encourage you guys that
Life happens for you, not to you.
exactly. And you know, we're looking at December and on into 2020 with massive expectations, not just for ourselves, but for all of you. We pray for you every single day. Let's go make an impact in the end of 2019 into 2020 than we did in all of 2018 and 2019. So love you guys. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. Love you all. Bye-bye.